There's our audio. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Writer's Room, presented to you by Breaking and Entering. I'm Alan Halas, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, host of the Mr. Nice Guy podcast, and Breaking and Entering contributing writer, our River West cohort, Ben Slowey. Ben, how are you feeling today, buddy?
Good to see you, Alan. I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited because I'm in the process of starting Mr. Nice Guy back up.
There we go.
And so I've been hard at work booking guests and getting my schedule back into the groove, which is just super refreshing after being 4 months away from it.
Yeah.
But so that's been exciting. Otherwise, staying in the AC, listening to a lot of great music and just killing it. How are you doing?
Good. I am getting settled into the full-time writer thing. It's an interesting change for sure, but really locked into a groove too. I think, like I said last week, I feel like we're back at full strength, and now we're even at even bigger strength because we got a new member added to the Breaking and Entering writing team. Shout out Jackson Weiberg. I hope I'm saying your last name right.
Shout out to Jackson. Yeah.
Posted
welcome aboard, son.
Yeah. Posted his first article today, and tons of new music coming out of the Milwaukee music scene too. So that actually helps a lot. We're gonna get into a lot of it in just a second, but I think we should get into our first music video to kick things off. Ben, you selected our videos for this week, and our first video is "Don't Trip" by DESI. So let's get into DESI on the Writer's Room.
I got out of bed so I could dream for myself, to think about where I was going, where I'd never been. What could I be? What I'd never been. What could I be? What will be, will be. If you believe, you gotta do it for yourself. No one else can do it for you. If you can dream, you get it right. Don't stay up tonight. You got love. But I can't.
Alright, that was DESI with "Don't Trip" on the Writer's Room. We were just talking off camera a little bit about the amount of music that has been coming out this week out of the Milwaukee music scene. And there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline too for this upcoming Friday that's going to get released. A lot of stuff that we've been covering on the site, and DESI is one of those artists that is out there now,
Yeah, dude. For one, I love that we always, off camera during the first video, we kind of, prep up with, all the stuff going on, and, it's a good, setup for us,
when we're here, when we're actually doing it, yeah.
What we're gonna what we're actually going to talk about for everybody. Yeah. Yeah, man. Definitely a lot of eclectic stuff out in the last week, and we've been, we've been neck deep in, all kinds of releases from, the punk scene, from the hip hop scene, from the pop scene.
Yeah.
From, I think that, summer is winding down. A lot of like the finished products that came from quarantine are all kind of like coming to us at once, and
right.
Yeah, like DESI is I had known of her for a little bit last couple months, like I saw that like she had she's like dropping an EP, and she had dropped the lead single and had a video to go along with it that ended up, the song premiered on 88.9.
Yeah.
And she is just absolutely stunning. Like, her voice is just so feathery and just so, like, delicate, but in a way that, like, goes really well with, like, that dreamy and etherealness to,
right.
the kind
Yeah,
of stuff she's doing.
it's almost like soothing, basically. Yeah, totally.
It feels like, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that the amount of music that is out, like you said, is so diverse. Coming from that more like dreamy kind of style to some of like the pop punk stuff that is on the site today. We were talking off camera about how like the amount of like YouTube videos that we kind of went through, and just looking through the hip hop scene. I mean, there's new Trap Junkie Jet that's out on the website today, and new video from Paper Stacks that came out. But just music of all genres hitting everywhere, and you can only find it on Breaking and Entering.
That's right. Yeah, we got new Emmett James song. We got a new Deucalion EP that's really good, and I highly recommend everyone listen to it.
Yeah, shout out to Deucalion.
Big shout out.
Yeah, he's part of Saf's crew, and he lives out in LA now. But Deucalion has been rapping for as long as I've been producing. He has been part of since back in my producer days. He's like one of those dudes that literally lives and breathes hip hop, and went out to Cali to kind of do his thing out there, and really started getting back. And I really, really like that project. Everything that I heard from it is very, very good so far.
Dude, it was unlike anything I've heard from the scene. Like,
yeah.
It's so in its own lane. It's like, I try to like use words to do justice as best as I could, but like how esoteric it is, like because his bars are just so like interesting. Like the way
right.
he pieces together like thematics with like personal experiences and feelings, but also speaking to like wider themes about like politics and about the human experience, and like and the way he just all juxtaposes that with like this journey like to this lost ark into sea is like, man, it's left field, but it is terrific. And yeah, like I just get so excited hearing projects like that are just in their own lane.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that there's something to be said for being a veteran rapper, because he is, a decade plus into it, but being a veteran rapper, but not sounding dated. You know what I mean? Like, that's a very hard, like, fine line to walk, and hip-hop is so much, considered like a young man's game. Not that it necessarily is, but the amount of, like, tiptoeing that you almost have to do, because he does come from, like, a real lyrical, like, background, and, that's not necessarily the most prevalent thing, but he made it so compelling on that project, you know what I mean? So, very, very interested to see with, the reception that's going to get, but really, really like everything going on with that project, too. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I mean, Paper Stacks video that came out, a lot of music that's coming out this Friday that is going to be absolutely insane. There's a new...
We get Star 67 from Eli Stones,
yeah.
Finally.
Shout out Eli Stones. Star 67's coming out this week. There's a new King Miles and Jesus EP that's dropping. That's like one of 3 projects I think he's got coming up. Gorilla Ghosts album drops this Friday. So we're in for a busy week, Ben, is what I'm saying.
I'm give me all you got. I mean, it's never too much for us to stay on top of.
This is gonna be the week that breaks Ben. So no,
Try me.
We'll break both of us, yeah. And speaking of content on the website too, shout out to Ben for your amazing coverage of the River West Arby's show. For those that don't know, you should explain what River West Arby's is.
Okay, yeah. So shout out to Matt Glassel of Tsunami, formerly Nausicaa, for kind of facilitating the shows at that space. But so River West Arby's is this empty lot that's located at Center and Pierce.
Okay.
River West, like between High Dive and Mad Planet.
So downtown River West.
right in the middle of River West. Everyone knows what you're talking about when like you say River West Arby's, because like River West is such a like, you know, communal and very tightly knit community where, you know, there's things like inside jokes and things like, you know, certain people you see or certain places or whatever. Like everyone just kind of knows exactly what you mean or what you're talking about, like where something is. And so there was a rumor, there was like a joke that there was going to be an Arby's put into that empty lot. And it just gained traction. People just started calling that lot River West Arby's. And so this, the last couple months, you know, obviously River West is built on DIY culture, and you know, there's a influx of DIY music venues here, and we've missed music a lot, like so much, and like, and it's cool because everyone just, you know, like, you know, we worked with what we had, and somebody actually like made something that works, but is also safe, responsible, and you know, builds community. So Matt started holding shows at the River West Arby's lot this last month, and what he's doing is, so there's been 2 acts, and then the sound comes from a extension cord from the neighboring house.
Oh my god!
Out the window, yeah.
That's
it's a huge family band. We're all just like plugged into this one power strip.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and then like everyone has to wear masks to attend. You know, there's things like hand sanitizer and whatnot. People are obviously encouraged to hang out and drink and mingle, but just, you know, safely.
Safely, right?
Yeah, and then they've selected a Milwaukee-based organization or charity that is focused on community resource or justice. And the first show was raised money for MK Black, which is an app that promotes Black-owned businesses across Milwaukee.
Yep.
And then the show on Friday actually was towards Leaders Igniting Transformation, as well as Diverse and Resilient.
Very cool.
They raised collectively about $350, which got split evenly. So 175 to 2 very important organizations in our Milwaukee community. And it was beautiful to see. I mean, I was like so excited to see so many people I hadn't seen in months, and I did have a bit to drink, but it made me realize how much, like, you know, I not only like how much we missed this, but also that, like, you know, we're really proud to call our neighborhood what it is, and
totally.
So
yeah,
that's River West Arby's.
I was gonna say I lovingly refer to River West as the island of misfit toys, because it's kind of what it is. I mean, but if anybody is gonna save the music scene in Milwaukee, it is definitely gonna be River West, and it's gonna be a dude running an extension cord out of his house, powering the whole thing. I didn't know that it was that DIY.
While there's a case of hams, you know, in the shade, sitting and waiting, and
I just assume that there's hams everywhere in River West. That there's under a tree, you can just pull it out like a Keebler cookie kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. There's hams or PBR. I mean, it's usually either of the two. But I mean, there was yeah, like I mean, obviously people are drinking all kinds of stuff, but it was yeah, it was just as like DIY and minimalist as you could imagine, but it turned out great. I mean, Dave Kevin Adam did a killer set. He's a hip hop poet that we featured on the site a couple times.
Yep.
Obviously, we know how hard the Hughes family band parties, and it was just like, man, yeah, it was a taste of something that I know we've needed for some time now.
Yeah, definitely, and it's something that is so unique to that neighborhood, but is so like representative of something bigger. Like we all clearly are waiting, just chomping at the bit for concerts to happen, things to come back to quote unquote normal. But I think that there's a way to do it safely, and there's a way to do it, and you need a community spirit to do that. And River West is definitely an example of like a community spirit that can put something together like this, do it safely, and there's not a big fuss over it. It's something that it's unique to that neighborhood for sure.
Oh yeah. I hate like I've always hated being around people that just kind of like spitball ideas for cool things, but they never like actually bring them to fruition. But
right.
That's what I love about River West a lot, is how like if people want something to happen, they will work with each other to to manifest something cool like that. And yeah, man, and just this grassy lot that is right in the heart of where we all are, like, it was great, man. And it was kind of like it was right at the start and finish line of the River West 24.
Okay.
So in a way, it was also kind of like a bit of a despite the 24 not really fully happening this year, like,
yeah,
it was also kind of like a sort of, celebrating the River West holiday, as they like to call it.
Yeah, definitely. Very, very cool stuff. Love to see it. With that, we're going to get into another video. It's another one that Ben picked out. It is more on the pop punk side of things. It's Bad Year. Really, really like everything I've heard from. Yeah, I've heard everything I've heard from them. I've really, really liked, and that comes from growing up a pop punk kid. But very, very cool stuff. So with that, this is Blackout on the Writers' Room.
Shame on me for actually believing it.
All right, that was Bad Year with Blackout on the writers' room, and really, really like what they've done. I love the production of that video too. Everything looks super, super clean. Always a welcome sign whenever you see something that looks great and sounds great as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because one of my best friends from home in Illinois was in a band called Bad Year in Florida, years back. But then when I discovered those Bad Year in Milwaukee, I was like, did Kyle's little band move to Milwaukee or something? Like, what the hell's going on? But I just found out they're two separate things, but they're both pop punk bands, which is pretty funny.
Wow, yeah, that is actually very super specific.
Yeah.
I know when I was trying to initially get things, labeled as breaking and entering, there's a reason all of our URLs are breaking and entering 1. There was a radio show that was breaking and entering, but then they abandoned it or something. There's a movie that's a breaking and entering. So, but that's a more common name. But Bad Year, and to both be in the same genre, that's actually pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that is a good pop punk band name. I totally give them credit there.
Oh yeah, totally.
There's another Mr. Nice Guy, but it's the weed dealer in the movie Half Baked. And people always ask me did I get my show from that? And I was like, no, I don't even really like that movie that much. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you got a side hustle out of it. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, totally. So this is usually the part of the show where we talk about what we've been listening to, not only, just Milwaukee music, but beyond that. Ben, I have a confession to make.
Yeah.
My wife introduced me to the Taylor Swift album.
Oh.
And,
Well.
Yeah. I have a big confession that I think I like it. And I don't know if I'm allowed to like it if I have to lose cool points for it. But I think I kind of like the new Taylor Swift record.
I think that's a right for another block. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
And this is it. They fell apart right here.
No, I don't believe in guilty pleasures or anything. You like what you like, and honestly, I tried to get into Taylor Swift. I really did, and in the past, I haven't gotten into it. But I haven't listened to her new album, so I gotta listen to it, I guess, and decide for myself. But I have heard it is really good. So
yeah, the key driving factor was she wrote it with Jack Antonoff from Bleachers and Fun, and with the guy from The National too. Wrote a lot on it, and so that was kind of my okay, maybe I can admit that I like it. But then I heard a couple songs on it, and she played them in the car for me, and I was like, all right, she went 1 for 1, cool, whatever. Next song plays, I'm like, all right, cool, 2 for 2. She can't it can't all be great. And those were the ones actually written with the guy from The National. And then the next one I think was my favorite song on the record. So from the jump, I was like, damn it, I think I like the Taylor Swift album. And that's what I've been kind of listening to lately, is that. Definitely still in a very summery mood too, anything that's going to be kind of a little bit more lighthearted. Not saying that the Taylor Swift record is, it's actually very sad, but she's very sad, emo, but still loud and melodic and everything else that a Taylor Swift record should be. So I hate to say it, but I think I like it.
Hey man, sometimes, I was always resistant to certain pop artists when I was younger, and I just thought it was cool to hate them. But then over time, when they have that one album that you're like, whoa dude, this shit's awesome,
yeah,
that's what happened with Lana Del Rey. Her last record I really, really liked,
which was partially written by the guy by Jack Antonoff too. He wrote some songs on that, so
oh yeah,
common thread. And I'd like me some Bleachers. So
their record, I think it was their third record that finally got me into them, and 21 Pilots' third record. It's a lot of times it's the third record. It seems.
Yeah, so 21 Pilots is the one that I've never gotten super into. And I think that's because they were like the buzzing band on campus in Marquette when I was a senior. And so I was like, everybody younger than me is real into this 21 Pilots band, and I didn't really get it. And I also didn't get like what genre of music that they made, because I was like, everything sounded like something different. And you could have told me any song was 21 Pilots and I would have probably believed it. But maybe I'll have to give it a shot now and see if I can go back and be like, oh man, they were way ahead of their time or something crazy,
Well, to their credit, they were young. They're two young guys, and I'm sure it took them a while to like navigate their sound. As many bands like them are. So, but their third record, I could tell they really matured in their fusion pop sound. So
yeah, definitely. So I've been listening, like I said, to the Taylor Swift album nonstop. Love it. Ben, what have you been checking out recently?
Oh yeah, man, You ever get into an album that like you listen to it once and you're like, this is the best thing I've heard all year?
Yeah.
Yesterday I found an album that just came out like almost 2 months ago, by a guy named Sonic Boom.
Okay.
He was in like some projects in the 90s, but he's been working on this album, I guess, like his solo album, for like a long time now, and it just dropped, and it's got this really like psychedelic, like brightly colored, like almost cartoonish artwork, and I'm obsessed with it. It's incredible. It is like this really amazing, like psychedelic, like almost like, I mean, it's psychedelic. It's kind of like dream poppy. But it's weird because some of the aesthetics in the music like kind of reminds me of like 60s psychedelic, like the Beatles.
Okay.
But like also in a way that feels modern and timely, and
sure.
like it did come out this year.
Okay.
Very like summertime beach vibes, like very hot day by the water with beers on the beach. Like that's everything that came to mind. But I'm just like, I've been sending it to the record to like so many of my friends in the last day. So I just want everyone, when I hear a record like that, I just want to share it with everybody.
I'm very much the same way. I text certain people if it's a local record. I especially like text a bunch of people, like send them the Spotify link or send them the SoundCloud or whatever, and I'm like, you gotta hear this. I actually, speaking of, did that with some unreleased Von Alexander, and I won't say too much about it because he doesn't know when he's dropping it yet. But it's flames. It is pure flames. But yeah, I am very much the same way, where I'm like, when I hear something, I want to send it out. I didn't do it with the Von record because, again, unreleased. But I just did that with a couple other albums that I was like, just when you hear it, you just know like you need somebody else to enjoy this and be like freak out over it. So you've sold me on Sonic Boom. I think I need to. I'm gonna need to check this one out.
I'll send that to you when we're done here.
Perfect. Yeah. There we go.
But aside from that record, I've been listening to a lot of emo.
Okay.
So a lot of Basement, some Balance and Composure. What else? Some Pine Grove.
Wow. You're getting real into like deeper into the emo stuff now.
Yeah. I've had a lot of bands on my list in that caliber to check out, but there's some really, really dope bands in there. Sea Haven's another one. So I've been, still kind of chipping away at that list. But
nice.
It's, I feel like I'm finding a lot of great stuff lately.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of great stuff. Let's get into a video real quick, which is more great stuff that you found. This is Brief Candles with Dimmer on the Writer's Room. Alright, that was Brief Candles with Dimmer on the Writer's Room. Very, very cool look to that video, as we were, again, talking off camera about. When I saw that initial, running shot, the slow-mo running, I thought the whole video was going to be in one piece.
Take?
Yeah, just one take. And it reminded me a lot of a video from, the late 90s, early 2000s by Wax for a song called Southern California, which actually got banned from MTV, but it was just one shot of a guy running while he was on fire until the end of the song. They just slow-moed it the whole way. So I might be showing my age a little bit on that one, but that's a very cool video, so you should YouTube that at some point, because it just looks awesome to see. It's before they had crazy 60 frame per second cameras and stuff, so it's just a dude on fire. You can't hate it, you know?
No, you can't hate it. That would be rude to hate it.
That guy was on fire for us. He didn't have to go that hard for us. Yeah.
And I like what they did there in Brief Candles. The blurry forest aesthetic, with the abandoned looking building. Hey, Kevin or Jen from that band, if either of them are watching, let us know where that is, because last week we were talking about the map of the music videos and where was shot, what was shot where and everything. I'm really interested to see where that was.
I actually am too, because I have lived here my whole life and I have never seen some of those places in that video, so hopefully it's upstate somewhere or some random trail. But yeah, I would like to know where some of your filming locations are too. That's, again, us geeking out on Milwaukee music videos, but I'm totally okay with that. So that is going to just about do it for this week on the show. We got another big week coming up ahead of us for music. We were saying off camera as well. It's a lot more music, even more than we thought about. You said Will Frang is coming.
Yeah, they're releasing their long-awaited second Good Land record.
Okay.
And I'm excited to hear some of those songs that, like, feels like I grew up with them because I've just been hearing them for so long. Like,
Right.
other shows, but I'm excited to see them, out of the studio with it. They recorded it all themselves.
Cool.
And the Unitaskers also coming out with a record next week, and they dropped their song French Tuck about, I think, a week and a half ago or something.
Yep.
They dropped New Moon and Pisces a couple months ago. And the Unitaskers, I think, are one of the most underrated, most fun, and interesting bands in Milwaukee. So I'm thrilled to see what they come up with.
Yeah, and they're big fans of us too. They give us
Yeah.
some shout outs on social media too, so that's cool too. And we just got tagged in an Instagram. New Juke Marciano has come in, I think, this week, this Friday too, another EP. So lots and lots of music to make sure you check out. Ben, do you have any advice for, or any parting words for our viewers for this week as we head into another crazy week of Milwaukee music?
Yeah. Wow. Well, I think my thing this week is, last week I was talking about how, like, I wanted to hang out, like, with my friends more, but just in a safe way, like, in a responsible way. So Friday was, like, it was almost, like, too much to take in, just seeing a lot of people I missed so much, but
Right.
that was just so cool to see, and then I hung out with Will and Jack, Will Frang and Jack, and all those guys. We went up to Port Washington to see them on Sunday,
Nice.
and I missed them a lot too. So, like, I've been sort of leaning into that, and it's felt great. So I think that with what we have, if anyone has a chance to see shows in a social distance, safe, outdoor way, then, if those things are happening, then just highly recommend going and supporting, because a lot of these local musicians, like, this is therapeutic for them to be playing shows. This is their release, and it's a release for the spectators to, like, live into the music and the good times. So there's a couple more shows of River West Arby's coming up this next month.
Nice.
I encourage everyone watching to look out for. Otherwise, we are just whatever like people can come up with that can make work. Like, we love to see it.
Yeah, definitely. Not only supports the bands, supports the venues, supports the businesses that are putting that on too. So that's kind of where I'm going to go with it this week, is make sure you continue to support the local businesses too. I just became a member over the weekend of Cactus Club's Patreon. We got some takeout drinks from them too a couple days ago, so support them. I kind of talked about it last week about everything that they're going through, but support them as well, and they're supporting the artists too. There's making sure that proceeds go to them. And I mean, they're doing something very cool with reinventing how, being a bar. They've got food trucks coming all the time. Shout out to everybody that's also at the Backyard in Bayview, and the Newport and all the other places that I normally end up hanging out at. Make sure you support your local businesses, because they are feeling it, especially in the service industry. They might be going through that second wave of possible closings and who knows what, or temporary or otherwise. So make sure you go out and do that. So
Speaking of which, I did, my girlfriend and I tried Odd Duck
yes,
this weekend.
there you go.
So good.
You're getting into our neck of the woods now. We're gonna make you a Bayviewite by the time this is
Dude,
done.
I've been, every time we go down and eat there, I'm like, I want to live down here. Like, I just eat down here so much now. Like it'd be nice to just have these places just, walking distance.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
And then after Odd Duck, we went to Babe's Ice Cream.
Yes, that is the spot. You go to Babes, you sit outside, and you watch traffic go down KK, and it's amazing. It's got to be like at least 80 degrees out, and it's got to be just as the sun is setting or has already set. That's how you do it.
That's actually exactly what we did. So spot on.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then don't forget, guys, you can always check out new music every single day from Ben, myself, Jackson, and all the other writers for Breaking and Entering. You can do that every day at breakingandentering.net. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. You can watch this every week on Twitch. We do this thing live for you, too, if you haven't seen it there. Make sure you can do that, and you can chat and do all of that stuff as well. So, for Ben Slowey, I'm Alan Halas. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week on The Writers' Room.